and can I say how pleased I am to be here speaking at this election rally tonight. There is a complete vacuum for an alternative, for genuine working people in our political process. And I think the challenge for all of us after the Euro elections is not to let things drift away, but for things to gain ground, for things to be able to create a genuine alternative that brings together environmental campaigners, trade unionists, community activists, that brings together people who want to ensure that people, not just in the Euro elections, but in the UK, have a genuine social alternative. People who will stand on a worker's wage, people who can stand firm against the corruption that's going on in Westminster and offer a genuine alternative to
Thanks very much for the chance to speak at tonight's rally, which takes place only a few hours before this Thursday, when millions of people get the chance in this country to pass judgment and to give their first chance, really, to express their anger at the situation that faces them: rising unemployment, growing insecurity, falling living standards, allegedly the worst recession that we've faced for 80 years. Looking at the billions that have gone to the bankers and their pensions, whilst workers from Woolworths all the way through to Vauxhall have been left to sink or swim, whilst MPs have been spending their real creative talents not on solving the problems of working class people in this country, but on making thousands of pounds on the side. From wallpaper at £64 a roll, regretfully, from a member of the Socialist campaign group, to second homes, not just for MPs, but second homes for their ducks, for the moats, for the tennis courts, for the tens of thousands of pounds forgotten when mortgages finished and yet the claims went on. I was actually expelled from the Labour Party 17 years ago for bringing the Labour Party into disrepute. My crime was not to forget the mortgage or the council tax payments, but to consciously and deliberately, alongside one or two of their colleagues, refuse to pay a poll tax that millions couldn't afford to pay, and thousands were being lined up for 3 months at a time in prison for inability to pay. And it's still happening today. A couple of weeks ago, we had a woman in Rugby jailed for several weeks for their inability to pay a few £100 of council tax. On a pro-rata basis, some of these MPs should be facing life in Durham maximum security prison.
Remind people anyway in this country about the railways. The railways were built on immigrant labour. Irish labourers come to this country and built the railways. The same arguments that was taking place now regarding Eastern European workers working in another part of Europe was no different to workers coming from Europe working here to build the railways. And the history is pretty simple about it. You see, they've worked out global capitalism is that you can move a factory from one part of Britain to another part of the world and get the labour cheaper, but you can't pick the railways up, and you can't pick the bus terminals up, and you can't pick ports up. So global capital understands how to make bigger profits. Because it can't transfer railways to another country, it wants to then transfer workers on lower rates of pay to work in those industries at a cheaper rate to push the profits up even bigger than there are now. And the simple way around it is pretty simple. You see, global capitalism understands that it only can operate on the basis of exploiting people. And it understands that the people that become in place of global unfettered capitalism is an organised trade union movement and a party that represents working class against those classes that represent big business. And therefore, under globalisation, there could be fantastic advances for workers. It could mean taking workers from the bottom to the top. You know, there's still 50% of workers in this world that earn $2 a day, and there's still 10% of the workers in this world that earn $1 a day. And either you support those workers in those countries to get a strong trade union movement and workers' political parties to fight back, to go to the top of the tree, or you get pushed down to the bottom. And where we're facing under the moment, not only in the European Union, but through global capital throughout the world, is a race to the bottom. The bowl of rice scenario. That if someone can produce something for a bowl of rice, then you've got to get your conditions down to a bowl of rice as well to compete. And that's what the European Union is. It is the arm of global capital to extract mass profits for big business on a European basis. And that's why after this election, we've got to come together as working class people, whether you're working, whether you're unemployed, whether you're a single parent on the estate, whether you're a person that's facing social deprivation, and making sure that we've got policies for working men and working women.